So, and it needs to be, as you said, it still needs to be professional.
Absolutely.
You know, I've heard horror stories with
Oh, I bet.
prep.
I bet that's bad.
Well, just prep with guys, with females, and in the powerlifting sector. It's like, dude, this is not coaching. This is.
We just got a question from Alan here. He just wants to know what recommendations you can give to help somebody become a better coach and kind of put it and kind of learn this stuff that we're talking about.
I don't want to answer that one. I'm going to have her answer that one because
Okay.
she's worked with several coaches. This doesn't mean that
Absolutely.
any of these coaches did any of these things bad. This can also be people that you've known that have worked with coaches. What do you look for, right? Or would you suggest other people look for? Or what are the red flags
Yeah.
that you see?
So I think with coaching, there obviously you don't want someone who's going to give you like a cookie cutter plan. You want to make sure that they know their stuff. I personally believe I look for someone who's done it before. People will call it bro science, but I think that's really important. That's another big reason why I chose John, because he does get super grainy and shredded, and that's what I needed. So I think you got to look for someone who, one, you think can bring you to that level. And two, just when you're doing your research and you're doing your check-ins and you know you're kind of meeting that coach, give yourself time to work with that person. It's not going to be like a 2-3 week fix. Like, you're going to have to work with that coach for like 3 months to really kind of see
Maybe longer.
the relationship. Yeah,
They got to learn you too.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. You want your coach to know as much as they can about you. So you got to be giving them feedback with the nutrition or training. They got to know like everything about you
Mhm.
for it to really work. And I think that's one good thing with me and John is that, you know, I don't blow up his email or anything, but you know, when it's check-in time, I make sure he gets all that information, the important stuff that he needs to make sure that I'm on the right track.
What are the red flags that you've seen other people run into?
I've heard people like comparing diets, like, oh, we have the same diet and we have the same coach. You know, for females, I don't know, I don't want to say the same diet, but like you gotta start somewhere. So even if a coach does give you like a cookie cutter diet, follow that for 3 weeks. I can guarantee you they're going to change something in it. So you need to kind of trust the process. You got to trust the coach. If you don't, then you probably shouldn't be with that person.
Yeah, yeah. I've been told, and I would probably recommend. It's not the base; it's the adjustments,
Yeah.
right? So any really good coach can give you basically any base diet, any base program,
Totally.
right? Because actually probably the more basic at the beginning, the better, because it's going to leave more clues. Now, if they don't adjust from that, then I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where, but I'll play devil's advocate. What if you're progressing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you keep progressing and you're going
Right.
the direction you need to, then maybe that base doesn't need to be changed, but I can disagree with that too. At a certain point, everything has to change. You're
Yeah.
going to be accommodated to that. So,
Yeah, it's and that's something that obviously takes time. It's like you're going to need to put yourself in experiences where you learn from better people. Like as a coach, from the coach's perspective, you need to put yourself in a room where you can learn from people. You can see things being done. You can have conversations, you know, reaching out to people, reading articles, reading webs. Like a really good coach is someone who is constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly developing their skill, right? But also is able to communicate these things to an athlete.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the reasons, and even I saw it today with just like you and John having a conversation post training.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see the back and forth. It was like you guys are talking, using the same verbiage, the same language. Like he knows how to speak to you. He knows, you know, how to get the most out of you, and you know how to get the most out of him. Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like this challenge back and forth thing. It's like you make him be better. He makes you be better.
Yeah.
Right. And it's that relationship. A coach athlete relationship is really, really important. And
well, after a while, though, too, 'cause she's been working with him for a while, she has to keep him accountable, too, which sounds weird, right?
No,
But
it's true.
there's some things with the client perspective where the client has to be honest and upfront. If they cheat, they need to say they cheat. I mean, it's a diet. You can't just throw shit in there and just assume that and blame it on the coach. I mean,
Totally.
you screw up, you screw up. You gotta be accountable for that. But the one thing I've seen with client coaching relationships that do last a long time is it almost becomes too personal and it becomes not professional at that point.
Right.
And then little things start to slide, right? Like, okay, yeah, it's okay. You can do this. You can do things that wouldn't have slid 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now start to slide because they almost become friends more than they become coach client. And that's okay. But that's also at a time where maybe the person needs to find another coach, right?
Pivot out of there.
But they feel weird because they're kind of friends with the person now. And this is where the red flags come in with that, right?
Yeah, I think that's what happened with my last coach.
Yeah.
When John was training me, you know, we became friends. I was with her for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we built that friendship. So it was more emotionally hard for me to kind
It
of
is.
part ways because we did develop that friendship. But yeah, you know, with John, I do, you know, keep it very professional. I have his number, but I don't text him
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's if I have something important to tell him or a check-in, it's like email.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
both can be done. I guess what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say here is, you know, it's, and I don't know her. I mean, it could also be on her part too, where if you're fucking up, instead of like in the first 8-10 weeks, she'd be like, look, you're fucking up, you know, and just call it straight out to where like, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I just let it go. So then the relationship just kind of changes. At the same time, that relationship matures too, right? So there's a lot of dynamics that are going on because it is a relationship, right? But it still is a coach-client relationship. So there's two people that are participating in this, right?
Yeah.
So there's both have to make each other accountable and both need to be transparent, right? So, and it needs to be, as you said, it still needs to be professional.
Absolutely.
You know, I've heard horror stories with
Oh, I bet.
prep.
I bet that's bad.
Well, just prep with guys with females and in the powerlifting sector. It's like, dude, this is not coaching. This is just fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And those people probably need to be called out for what they're doing. They
Right.
definitely need to be fired, but there's those things that if anything happens like that, if anything ever happens that makes the person feel uncomfortable, then they should probably
gotta
find
move
another
on.
coach,
Gotta
right?
move on.
Or
Yeah.
find out why.
Right.